The quiet hum of deep space drifted around a lonely alien vessel as it moved through an empty region of the galaxy. The ship belonged to a peaceful exploration group, led by an elder named Roller, who carried a calm spirit and a gentle voice. Their vessel had traveled far from its homeworld to study star clusters and drifting comets that filled the dark expanse. For many days, the journey remained smooth and predictable as their instruments collected readings of distant suns. Roller often admired how the universe felt peaceful despite its silence. He believed every new star held a lesson waiting to be discovered. His crew shared his curiosity and worked with steady dedication as they mapped the void around them. None of them expected their quiet mission to turn into a desperate struggle for survival. The first sign of trouble came as a faint vibration across the ship's hull. A subtle tremor made the lights flicker and caused every crew member to pause. Roller approached the control panel and requested a status report with a tone that tried to hide his concern. The ship's systems responded with a message that chilled him with its calm clarity. An energy surge had passed through a nearby dust field and overloaded several essential chambers. The vessel's power grid had become unstable, and their engines were now at risk of complete failure. A soft alarm echoed across the command deck while the crew exchanged uncertain glances. The ship had no backup vessel and no nearby allies in this remote region of space. The crew worked quickly to stabilize the failing systems, but every attempt only slowed the damage instead of stopping it. The energy surge had disrupted something deeper in the vessel's core. Roller understood that with outside help the ship might not sustain itself for much longer. Space surrounded them like a silent ocean, and the nearest star route was too far away for immediate escape. The elder's voice trembled slightly as he ordered the sending of an emergency signal. He hoped the universe would send a friendly presence to respond before it became too late. The message traveled across the dark expanse, with a call for assistance written in every frequency they could broadcast. All they could do now was wait and prepare for whatever came next. Far away from the alien vessel, a human pilot named Dan was patrolling the outskirts of a trade corridor. Dan earned the reputation of an ace pilot who always remained calm under pressure. He enjoyed flying more than anything in his life because the open sky of space reminded him of freedom. Dan's ship was small, but equipped with strong systems and a reliable engine that had carried him through countless missions. He liked traveling alone because it allowed him to listen to the quiet rhythm of the ship while drifting through starlight. During this routine patrol, he leaned back in his seat and reviewed navigation charts for his next destination. The journey ahead seemed simple and free of complications. He expected nothing more than a calm flight and an early return to his station dock. Then the emergency signal reached his ship with a sharp tone that interrupted the silence. Dan straightened his posture as lines of alien script appeared across his monitor. His translator system analyzed the message and revealed the request for rescue from a troubled vessel. The coordinates showed a location far outside the usual travel routes. Dan felt a tug of responsibility rise inside him because he understood how terrifying distress signals could be. He believed that no traveler deserved to be left alone in danger. Without hesitation, he adjusted his course and prepared his ship for a rapid jump. He activated his engines and accelerated toward the distant coordinates with firm determination. The journey took him through narrow stretches of space where dust clouds shimmered like drifting silver curtains. Dan monitored his readings and noticed unusual energy traces matching the surge described in the signal. He knew this meant time was running short for whoever sent the call for help. His ship pushed forward with every bit of power it could generate. The pilot kept his focus sharp while predicting potential hazards along the route. Dan's years of experience guided him with a calm mind and steady hands. He refused to consider the possibility of arriving too late. Every second mattered for the unseen crew relying on his response. Back aboard, Rowler's vessel, the situation grew more difficult with each passing moment. Power fluctuations made several chambers dim and caused equipment to shut down unexpectedly. A medical room lost its lighting, and the crew used handheld guides to move safely through the corridors. Rowler tried to comfort his team as best he could by offering encouraging words and steady guidance. He reminded them that survival often came to those who refused to surrender hope. Still, the tension in the ship remained heavy, like a weight pressing on everyone's shoulders. Each new tremor added to their fear that the vessel might finally lose control. Some younger crew members quietly wondered whether anyone had heard their transmission dot. Just when their worry began to deepen, a scanner officer shouted with relief. A small, fast-moving object appeared on their long-range sensors. Rowler approached the display and felt a surge of gratitude as he realized that help was indeed approaching. The incoming ship carried human design and traveled at impressive speed. The Elder quickly ordered a response signal to guide their rescuer to a safe docking point. The crew hurried to prepare the outer chamber and secured the areas still receiving partial power. They worked with renewed strength because the sight of the approaching pilot restored their courage. Hope now filled the hearts of everyone. Aboard the alien vessel, Dan approached the ship with careful precision as he assessed the visible damage along its hull. The vessel appeared to be struggling, but still intact enough for a controlled docking. He initiated a soft link and transmitted a calm message announcing his arrival. Rowler welcomed him with sincere gratitude and explained the critical situation in measured detail. Dan listened carefully and began planning a method to stabilize the failing systems. He boarded the vessel with a portable unit built for emergency energy support. The alien crew watched with a mix of relief and curiosity as Dan moved through their corridors. His confident steps made them believe they still had a chance to survive. Dan reached the central chamber, where lights flickered like dim stars. He examined the main energy core and recognized the pattern of instability. The surge had damaged several control channels that directed the power flow throughout the ship. If left unfixed, the core could collapse and leave the vessel powerless. Dan instructed the crew to assist by holding the auxiliary controls steady. Rowler and his team followed each direction with precise focus. Dan activated his portable unit, which released a stabilizing wave into the grid. The ship responded slowly, but the readings began to level out in promising ways. Years of training helped. Dan coordinated the repair process with steady movements. He patched broken conduits and rerouted power to safer lines. The alien crew passed him tools and offered support with quiet teamwork. Rowler stayed beside him and provided updates on the system's reactions. Dan appreciated how quickly the crew adapted to his instructions. The chamber gradually brightened as restored power spread through the vessel. The trembling of the ship decreased until it finally became stable again. A collective breath of relief moved through the room as hope blossomed once more. When the final sequence aligned correctly, Dan stepped back and checked the readings. The vessel had regained enough strength to continue its journey safely. Rowler placed a hand over his chest in a gesture of deep respect. He thanked Dan with heartfelt sincerity for arriving when their situation seemed hopeless. Dan responded with a humble smile because he believed helping others was simply the right thing to do. The crew expressed gratitude in their own warm gestures and tones. They invited Dan to visit their observation deck as a gesture of appreciation. He agreed and followed them to the upper chamber, where a wide window revealed the galaxy in full splendor. The alien vessel drifted calmly now as stars glowed in distant patterns across the dark horizon. Rowler explained that their mission involved studying these clusters to learn more about cosmic harmony. Dan listened with interest and realized how deeply the alien explorers valued peace and discovery. He admired their purpose and believed their journey deserved to continue without fear. Rowler expressed that the universe felt connected through acts of kindness across different worlds. Dan nodded because he always believed that compassion defined the strength of any species. He felt grateful to be part of their story, even for a brief moment. The shared silence between them carried a sense of unity beyond language. After some time, Dan prepared to return to his own ship. Rowler promised to record the event so others would remember the courage of the human pilot. The crew waved in warm farewell as Dan moved back toward the docking point. Dan boarded his vessel and prepared for launch with restored confidence. He felt satisfaction knowing that a life-saving mission had ended with success. As he departed, he watched the alien vessel regain its steady course through the starlit expanse. The feeling of connection remained with him as he turned his ship toward the nearest route home. He carried the memory of this moment like a quiet warmth inside. His heart. Dan returned to his patrol path with a renewed sense of purpose. He believed the universe held endless opportunities to bring different beings together. The experience strengthened his commitment to answer every call for help he encountered.